Breast cancer has been one hell of a journey for me. It's a journey where the outcome is much better than I expected.
I think it's very possible to get back to full health after breast cancer. I feel very healthy, healthier than I did before, if I told the truth.
You do get your fitness back, and you do enjoy what you enjoyed before.
There's definitely life after breast cancer. I'm here to prove it.
All these people have found ways to enjoy a healthy lifestyle after breast cancer. And if you're looking for the inspiration to eat well and be active, their stories might just get you started. Breast cancer can have such an impact on your everyday life that eating healthy food may well be the last thing on your mind. But making a few small changes can make a big difference to how you look and feel.
125/80 now. Perfect. A young woman's blood pressure.
Oh,
Thank you.
Prior to my cancer, all my cooking involved either frying or deep frying.
We used to cook on a weekend and perhaps one evening through the week, and the rest of the time we would use convenience foods.
I would probably have said that I didn't eat that many takeaways, but thinking about it, it was probably 3 or 4 or possibly even more during a week.
I bought pricker packet meals. I didn't care about fat, salt or anything, as long as it looked yummy.
Londoner Heather Petkoff is the first to admit that before breast cancer, her diet was far from perfect. But during treatment, she found that her appetite increased, and as a result, she piled on the pounds.
I put on 2.5 stone in weight, and I was permanently hungry. I would eat as many cakes, biscuits, ice cream, lollies, pizzas, chips, every single thing that you can imagine. So it was a vicious circle. The more I was eating, the more I wanted to eat. I became a very, very big girl.
Not everybody puts on weight while they're having treatment. Some women feel that it may be the drugs they're taking, but there's no clear evidence about this. What we think may be the reason is the menopausal effect, in that once you reach the menopause, you're more likely to put on weight, particularly in areas of the body that you don't want to. And we also find as well, many people while they're having treatment perhaps aren't as active as they normally are.
My GP told me that I should join a club which they have at my doctor's to lose weight, which I call the Fat Girls Club. And that's when I went there and met Brenda, who helps me, and she suggested I cut down on fat and read what was in things, learn how to like fruit, learn that vegetables are nice.
Are you eating 5 a day?
I do.
There's your, yeah, you are.
100%. Good.
Yeah,
That's good.
Yes.
I had to relearn eating.
Eating a healthy, balanced diet is particularly important if you've had breast cancer. This doesn't need to be complicated or expensive. The most important thing is to get a good variety in your diet.
If you'd asked me before breast cancer how many pieces of fruit and vegetables I had every day, it would probably be 1 or maybe 2. And when I heard that I should be eating 5 portions of fruit and veg every day, it was like, how could I actually do that?
By a portion, we mean a piece of fruit, such as an orange or a banana, or for vegetables, about 3 tablespoons of vegetables, or a small bowl of salad. Try to get a good range of different coloured fruit and vegetables to get the full range of vitamins and nutrients. Try to have some of the brassica vegetables, such as broccoli, or the Chinese vegetable pak choi. And don't forget that frozen fruit and vegetables can be just as nutritious as fresh. You may be thinking of switching to organic produce, but really, there's no good evidence that having more of these foods in your diet gives you any additional health benefits. It's really down to personal choice.
For Valerie Amos, her choice was to change to an organic diet after her treatment.
I'm quite conscious about making sure that our fruits and vegetables don't have pesticides sprayed on them, because having been through something like chemotherapy, I don't want to increase the levels of toxicity in my system. I started growing my own vegetables and I discovered really my garden wasn't large enough, and I now have an allotment. I can grow as much and as many types of vegetables as I want at a fraction of the price that you buy them in the supermarket, all organic. It's a nice way to eat well.
You may be wondering whether you should be cutting down on certain foods. This was a major concern for Linda Poole.
I had time to think about my diagnosis, and I felt that perhaps I was doing something wrong in my lifestyle through diet. And when obviously I felt well enough after all the treatment, then I started making changes. The main change I made to my diet was cutting back on the dairy products, mainly because of media. There was a lot of information coming through generally that dairy foods were bad for breast cancer.
So what is the current thinking on dairy foods?
Many people with breast cancer think they should be giving up dairy products, but you know, there's really little evidence to support this. Dairy foods are an important part of a healthy diet, a great source of calcium for healthy bones. Try and have less of the high-fat and more of the low-fat dairy foods, like skimmed and semi-skimmed milk, cottage cheese and yoghurt. If you don't include dairy foods in your diet for whatever reason, it's really important you include a good source of calcium, such as bony fish, tofu or green leafy vegetables.
For Saroj Sethi, becoming a vegan meant she needed to find alternatives to dairy products, and she discovered there were many on the market.
So we use soya milk and rice milk. I drink rice milk in my cereal or in the tea as well. I've also got soya margarine, cream cheese, which is made from soya again, and that's it.
Soy can be part of a healthy diet. It certainly lowers cholesterol. If you're taking hormone treatments, it's probably not advisable to have too much soy in your diet or to take soy supplements, as these may interfere with the treatments. If you're worried about this, you may want to discuss it with your specialist or your breast care nurse.
As well as calcium for healthy bones, you also need vitamin D so the calcium can be absorbed into your body. The vitamin D is found in things like margarine, oily fish, and also sunlight, so getting outside every day is a really good thing to do. It's also worth remembering that things like smoking, too much alcohol, are quite detrimental to your bone health as well.
And that's not all. Alcohol is also high in calories. A 250 millilitre glass of wine contains approximately 200 calories, so bear this in mind when you're trying to keep your weight down.
We all need some protein in our diet. Too much red meat is not good for us, but it's fine to include it 3 or 4 times a week alongside foods like chicken and fish, particularly oily fish. If you're vegetarian or you simply want more variety in your diet, you might want to include foods like beans and pulses and other vegetable proteins like soya mince and corn.
Nicola Pritchard knows how important it is to get the right combination of foods on her plate.
As a vegetarian, I've always been quite conscious of getting enough protein in my diet. I'm aware that because I don't eat meat, that is, quite a significant part of a healthy, balanced diet that's missing. So I'm very aware when I look at a plate of food that it needs to have something that I can see and I can identify as a piece of protein on it. So someone who eats meat would see a sausage or a lamb chop. I see a piece of cheese, some nuts and beans, something like that, and then I'm quite happy that I'm getting the right protein and the protein that I need in my diet. I was quite conscious that when you're rushing around during the day, sometimes it's quite easy just to run into a corner shop and pick up a chocolate bar or something, and I didn't want to do that anymore. So I'd always have dried fruit, nuts, something like that in my bag as well.
Before breast cancer, Katrina McNamara was a complete workaholic. Working incredibly long hours meant she didn't have time to eat properly, and along with convenience foods, she relied on high-calorie snacks to keep her going.
I was just eating to get fuel, really, rather than thinking about what I was eating. Snacks were always sugary snacks. It suited my lifestyle because there would always be chocolate on whichever station I was on. And the really embarrassing thing to look back on, and difficult thing for me, is that I probably stopped buying cakes when I went shopping and started going shopping to buy cakes. And snacking between meals was something that I did, and I guess I still do. The difference is the type of snack. Now I'll probably opt for fruit.
I've tried to cut out snacking altogether now, so we try to have meals that are much more filling, and I tend to try and go for whole grains and wholemeal products.
If we think about starchy foods, try to have less of the white refined processed varieties and more of the whole grain ones, which are packed full of nutrients. Good examples of these are wheat and bran-based breakfast cereals, things like muesli, whole wheat pasta, brown rice, and other grains like couscous and bulgur wheat.
Cooking. You may love it, you may loathe it. But leaving the convenience foods behind and changing the way you cook will do wonders for both your health and your waistline.
The changes with cooking for me were horrible. I hate cooking. I love pricking packets and putting them in the microwave. Now we're having to cook vegetables, cook meat, cook fish, and so I did find that difficult, but I enjoyed the outcome of it. I enjoyed losing the weight.
And the scales? Look, that's
Good
fine.
girl.
Well done.
Yes. For me, one of the key changes around cooking was that I would certainly use lard and butter. I now use olive oil to try to make it a purer type of fat that I'm using.
We all need some fat in our diets. Some fats are bad for us and some are better for our health. The bad fats are the saturated animal fats that you find in fatty meats and high-fat dairy foods like cream and butter, and in processed foods like cakes and biscuits and pastry. The good fats are the monounsaturated and the omega-3 fats that you find in olive oil, nuts and oily fish.
I don't eat any deep-fried stuff now. I don't fry my spices. I just roast them and sprinkle them on tomatoes and then just pour in the vegetables. And that's my new modern curry.
The vegetables, instead of boiling them in the saucepan and all the goodness going from them, I started then to steam cook or to cook them in a wok as a stir fry.
You can make curry sauces, Mediterranean sauces. You can add anything to the vegetables, or you can bake the vegetables as well. They make a full meal and a very tasty one too.
If you're eating a healthy, balanced diet, you don't need to take these. In fact, you actually absorb far more nutrients from your food than you do from supplements. So there you have it. If your diet includes plenty of these healthy options, even with the occasional treat, you'll be well on your way to a healthier life.
Since changing my diet, I feel fantastic.
I feel much more energised. I think I can actually do a great deal more in a day than I used to.
I feel very light inside me.
I feel I look better. That gives me then the confidence then to go out and do other things.
I've now lost 4.5 stone, and really most of that, I would say, is down to changing diet. So they're the trousers from a year ago. That's the top that fits a year on. I'm quite pleased with that.
As well as eating healthily, it's really important to do some exercise. However, during and even after treatment, thinking about this can be difficult.
My energy levels with having the treatment dropped dramatically. The week that I was having the treatment, I just wanted to lay around. I felt very listless.
I was too ill to do any exercise. Walking more than a few yards down the road was quite exhausting. So there really wasn't much possibility of doing anything more strenuous.
I couldn't sit up straight. If I sat up straight, I used to feel as if the head was going to whiz around. But I just kept persevering and hoping that everything will go away one day. And it did.
When recovering from cancer treatment, it can be difficult to know what sort of exercises to try and how to go about doing them. You might be feeling very drained after your treatment, and probably the last thing on your mind is trying exercise. But the simple fact is, if you can do some gentle exercise every day, this can help to reduce treatment-related side effects like nausea, fatigue and pain.
I started to think about the need to exercise when I was actually having chemotherapy. Part of that was down to the joint sort of stiffness that I was getting with the Taxol. I found that if I walked, it would actually help that. So by walking, I still only mean probably as far as the garden.
I work in an old school and lots of stairs, and I was told you've got to walk fast everywhere and you've got to go up the stairs 2 at a time. And to start with, I couldn't. It hurt my knees, I couldn't breathe properly, but now I can run up the stairs and it's really good. You can feel your heart pumping and it's good exercise. I swim with my son Michael, who whizzes past me, but at least I have a go. Swimming is one of the best exercises with walking because you're using all your muscles, your legs, your arms, everything.
During treatment, it's best to do light exercise. During chemotherapy, your immune system will be weaker than normal, so it's important that you don't do too much too soon. Try and avoid vigorous activities at this stage.
I would take my dogs out into the garden with me and they would run around, and I enjoyed doing that. So I then started to just take them down to the local field. I then started walking around the field a couple of times and actually putting a little bit more effort into the walking. And I suppose then it started going up from once a day to twice a day, and more importantly, we were enjoying it.
Many people ask if they'll be able to get back to the kind of activities and sports they did before the treatment. Well, there's no reason why you shouldn't. You just need to allow yourself time to get fitter. Just listen to your body. You'll be the best judge.
For keen sportsman Chris Jackson, treatment really took its toll on his fitness. But with perseverance, he got it back.
Before I got breast cancer, I was a pretty keen runner. And even to the day before I went into hospital, I was out running with a group of friends from work. After I'd had my operation and started on the chemotherapy, obviously, I was wanting to get back to running again. And I got my shoes on. I got myself all ready to go out. And I ran about 30 yards and I was absolutely and utterly bushed. And I had to come home, put my running shoes away until the treatment was over. After I'd had the chemotherapy, after I'd had the radiotherapy, and there I was quietly taking me tamoxifen, and I then decided it was time to start running again. I was absolutely shattered when I got back. And I realised that, that it was going to be an uphill struggle and that I would be starting all over again. And so over the next few months, I would run 3 or 4 times a week, just little bits, and gradually increase. And so once I could run for over half an hour, I could actually start running around a bit of countryside. I was thrilled to bits, and I've never stopped since then.
Weight-bearing activities like jogging, walking and exercise classes are also important in maintaining bone health. These kind of activities will make you less susceptible to problems like osteoporosis in the years to come. Also, exercise can help to guard against excessive weight gain. It can help to improve our mood and help to cope with everyday stresses.
If I have problems or I'm upset, I can go to my allotment and I just feel so much better. And another thing that I really enjoy is the physical side of it. I love digging. I just do love digging. And the great side effect of it is it's terribly good for your fitness. I've got very strong arms, strong legs from the digging, and my plot looks great.
The simplest way to get started is to build exercise into your everyday routine. So, a brisk walk to the shops, housework, gardening or cycling would be ideal. All over body stretching and mobility exercises are also a good idea. While exercising, you should be able to hold a conversation. If you can't, then ease back. There's no need to do more. The important thing is to take things slowly and go at your own pace.
Because I have a desk job, I wanted to do something to get me out and about and really to get me fit again. I chatted to a couple of the other girls in the office and they felt the same. We decided that we would walk a couple of evenings after work down to the coast. And while we obviously were walking, then we would be talking as well. But also, at the same time, we were getting fit.
Exercising can also be a great way to meet new people. For Jean Brown, going to a dance class made keeping fit much more fun.
For the last 15 years or so, I've gone to a tap dancing class. It's a social activity. We have good fun. It does get your pulse racing once we start the routines. It's really good exercise, so lots of pink faces at the end of the class.
I would certainly recommend that bowling is a very good way of taking exercise and getting control of your body again. After surgery, because of the stiffness in my right arm, I didn't think I'd be able to bowl. And when I went to my surgeon for a checkup, he said that he thought it was very beneficial. I think it keeps you fit because you bend a lot, you're up and down the green, and for an age group, it's very good exercise. And there's a very good social side to it as well.
Oh, good try.
I've continued bowling, got my old form back, and pleased to say that I've become, once again, the ladies' champion.
Well bowled.
After I had surgery to remove both my lump and to have lymph nodes removed under my arm, one of my biggest concerns was getting lymphedema.
Lymphedema is a swelling caused by a buildup of fluids in the tissues of the arm. You can be at risk of lymphedema developing if you've had radiotherapy or surgery to the armpit area. Not everybody develops lymphedema, but it's really important if you notice a swelling to your fingers, to your arm or even to your chest, that you get your doctor or nurse to check this out.
Because I'd had surgery on my arm, it didn't have full mobility. It was very important that I did something that would bring it back to full usage. So I actually started horse riding, which might sound rather odd.
Good, good, good.
When you're riding a horse, you can't think about anything else. You can't worry about whether your cancer's going to return. When you're riding a horse, the only thing you can think about is riding that horse.
Sit down to walk. All right, good. Well done.
Since I've been riding, I can honestly say I've had no health problems with my arm whatsoever, and I certainly have never had any problem with lymphedema.
One of the best things you can do is to use your arm normally. This encourages muscle movement, and that helps the lymph fluid to drain naturally. It's probably best to avoid vigorous, repetitive type exercises, but gentle exercises such as walking, dancing and stretching are ideal.
The yoga class has helped my mobility in my shoulder and my arm.
Breathe in and stretch, hooray! Like breathe out and drop down. Breathe in. Oh, this is good. We can do this like kids in a park. And breathe out.
Because I do the exercises on a regular basis, I don't suffer any pain anymore.
As you breathe out and relax.
If you're thinking of joining a gym or an exercise class, then do remember to tell your fitness instructor about your surgery. They can then tailor a programme for you. Consult your GP or your breast care nurse before undertaking more strenuous activity. Exercising 3 times a week is a good goal to aim for, building up to a duration of between 20 and 30 minutes. But don't worry if you can't do the full 30 minutes. You can do 10 minutes here and 10 minutes there. That's just as good for you. Keep in mind that even a little exercise is going to benefit your health.
Getting back to health is not only about diet and exercise, it's also about feeling good in yourself and perhaps looking at new ways to do this.
Many people now look to complementary therapies to help them feel better and sometimes to help with some of the side effects of treatment. And Breast Cancer Care run healthy living days where you can try out a range of complementary therapies that we know are safe and that you'll probably find beneficial. We offer things like Reiki, relaxation, reflexology and aromatherapy. And they're also a really good way of meeting other people who are having treatment as well.
Everyone has their own ways of relaxing. It can be as simple as just getting outside.
I'd heard somewhere that we all need 15 minutes of natural daylight every day, so I started just getting 15 minutes of daylight. And actually not only getting that daylight, but getting fresh air. And having time to enjoy doing nothing, which after a lifestyle of being a workaholic is probably quite important.
One of the things I do is relaxation, and that involves visualisation. I light candles, put on some music and visualise where I want to be. By the end of it, I usually feel calm, sometimes quite energised because you've visualised this place that's very special to you.
When you've finished your treatment, take time out for yourself. Don't rush back into everything headlong like you did before, because you want to be just back to normal, because things are different. And you should take a little bit of time out for yourself to think about what you need to do in order to regain your health and strength.
Just try changing one thing at a time. If you have a passion for crisps and chocolate and cigarettes, well, cut out the one that's the most unhealthy to start with. And don't punish yourself about it.
Since I've been on my healthy diet and exercise regime, I think my energy has treble-folded.
Who likes carrots?
I feel healthy, I feel fit, I feel pretty, and I just feel as if my whole life has transformed.
I don't want to get back to the person that I was before I had the breast cancer, because I feel I have more confidence now and my life is just wonderful. I don't want to go back, I just want to look forward.
This year I'm involved in the Breast Cancer Care fashion show in Glasgow. I don't think I would have considered doing anything like this before I had breast cancer. Now I make the most of any opportunities that are presented to me and just try to live life to the full.